Hi guys, we're back at the Isle of Man TT for 2024, back for another year. We've got a good roster of riders this year, so we're going to work through practice week, progress and see how the boys get on. So we'll go check them out now. Okay guys, I'm here with Dom Herbertson. First off, Dom, how are you?
Nervous as hell.
Well,
there's no point being here unless you are nervous, and I think the challenge of the place is obviously to better yourself.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
As you know, you've worked with so many riders around the TT circuit, and it's a case of you get to a level, and then you're not happy again, and then you get to your next level, and then you get to there, you're happy, and then you're not happy, and then you move up again.
Just chipping away. So, just for everyone knows, it's a long lap. Everyone knows that. It's not like short circuit racing. We can't go out, do a 1 minute 50 and come back in, make some changes.
No.
You're out there for a long time. So are there any specific things while you're out there that you're thinking about for your setup? Is there any key markers where you'll think, right, this is what I want to focus on to make the bike better everywhere?
Yeah, as you know, it's 37 and 3/4 mile even, and it's over like 264 corners, and as you've rightly just said, you cannot get it right all the time.
Exactly.
And it's very hard to actually get a specific part of the circuit. And
Okay.
what I'm trying to do is find out my weak points. So, for example, I love start line with Glen Helen. Absolutely love that. But that's like, because I'm enjoying it, it's like my strength. So I don't really have to particularly worry on that. Where my weakest point is at the moment is over the mountain.
Okay.
And like you said, that's more short circuit-esque. You know, you're more open, more flowing. And you've got more time to think about how the bike's reacting because it is smoother. So when you're trying to tap the throttle on, instead of you're thinking where's it running wide, and then when you get into a reaction and where you can trail the brake and actually feel the bike coming back to you. Because to be blunt with you, Mick, as you know, there's parts of this track that are just violent.
There's none of it that's an easy ride, is there as such, really?
No, you're not wrong. And the best thing about being with K-Tech is you've got knowledge, you've got experience, and the fact that when you lads come down to the awning, the knowledge is there, and you've got the confidence to push against that. So as violent as it feels, it's like, well, actually, how can we make this much better? And you can just fine tuning from that point.
Brilliant. So yeah, guys, there's just a little insight with Dom the Bomb, and then hopefully we're going to see him for the rest of the week, and hopefully
It's going a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Each time.
What average are you hoping for this year?
Well, I've done 130 mile an hour on K-Tech. So that was the first time on the through rod as well.
Yeah.
Massive step up on that side of things. Really, a lot more stability. And being able to build on that would be crucial. So a 1.3. I'm being realistic. I would love a 1.31. If I don't get it, I'll be devastated. But it's we need the conditions.
Yeah.
We've already had a night cancelled.
Yes.
The weather's looking a bit better, and we need more rubber put on the ground, a bit of sunshine, and everyone drink beers and have a good time.
Just chip away.
Damn right.
Hi guys, we're here with Hutchie. He's just popped into the truck, got his cup of tea, and he's just come to have a little bit of a chat with us. So first of all, Ian, how you getting on, mate?
All right, yeah, it's been probably worse than being a newcomer, to be honest.
Oh dear.
I've ridden here once in the last 5 years, and that was with a bit of an injury in 2022. So yeah, the first time back from the stroke, and it was really, really bad the first night, to be honest. So it's totally different from anything I've come back from in the past. I did start to think maybe it's all over here, but then luckily for me we got the night off on Tuesday because I got no sleep whatsoever on Monday. Got the night off, came back last night, and it was speed wise not back to normal, but back to normal how I know how to ride around here, and everything felt back to the sort of speeds instead of everything feeling really fast, felt normal again and stuff. So yeah, it's been a little bit challenging.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're back with Clive, so you know the surroundings there, sort of familiar, personnel, bike, setup. So have you been able to sort of go back to where you were working before when you were previously riding?
Yeah, obviously the bikes are the older model bike that they ran last year, so they've got some settings that have obviously been round here at a certain speed. So we're only really small changes to make it how I want it, which is a nice thing for me that I can just go out and ride around. So I'm really only concentrating on the stock and the 600. I've done one lap on the superbike, but I'm just not really at the speed to need a superbike at the moment. So I just want to keep getting where I am on the stocker. And yeah, that's where we'll go. I've had 2 nights of practice and we're halfway through more than halfway through the week now, so yeah.
The weather's looking better today, windy, so hopefully we can get some more time tonight. With your different bikes, do you transfer the settings over, or is it like your stock and your 600, you take a total different approach to setting them up, or do you try and follow the same process?
With Clive, I don't know that much about the settings because he just does it himself, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah.
But between 600 and any 1000cc bike, they're different. You know, they're obviously a lot different weight, a lot different power, spring-wise. I think you'll know yourself that they're probably a lot heavier in the bigger bikes than they are in 600s. Between the superbike and the stocker, they're very, very similar because our superbike's basically a stock bike anyway. It's got the forks in it and the yokes in it and a tuned engine. The rest of it is a stock bike. So rear wise is you could take the shock out of the superbike and put it in the stocker. It's exactly the same.
Yeah,
so
ready to go.
yeah, so we'll that's where we're at.
Cool. So yeah, hopefully just get some more laps tonight and then just build and then get that speed up a bit more.
Yeah, for me, it's 2 weeks of practice.
Yeah.
That's all I can look at, you know. I'm looking at times now and thinking where I want to be right now, but I think really that's where I want to be in the senior race next week.
Okay.
That's it, you know. My whole point of being here this year was to know by the end of the week that I'm going to be in a decent position to try and be back at the front next year. You know, it was never going to happen this year, so I've just got to keep chipping away. From the first night to the second night, I went 5 miles an hour quicker. So if I do right every night, I'll be winning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll be ready to go.
Yeah, it's going to start getting, you know, less and less. But obviously, I think they only found like 1 mile an hour from the first night to the second night at the front. So if I can keep chipping away, I'll get a bit closer. But yeah, it's, you know, the front running pace is definitely going to be out of my reach this year, and I understand that, and I've just got to work on what I'm doing.
Yeah, just more of a building year before you're ready to come back and go at it again. And here we are on the start straight of the TT course. So straight from the get-go, the guys are at flat out pace down Bray Hill with a big J out at the bottom, so the bikes have to be stable at those speeds, then also control into that big compression at the bottom to then be able to drive out of there and keep nice and stable. So then from here we're going to take a next step on and have a look at a few of the key parts of the circuit. Okay, so now we've come to the bottom of Bray Hill. The guys will be approaching here at speeds of 180 miles an hour, and it's really important to get the bike set up and balanced here, because as you can see there's a big dip at the bottom, so it's important that the bikes will G out there. So a lot of the teams end up putting plating on the bottom because they'll guarantee to wear through belly pans and so on. So it's really important for us to get the bikes nice and supported here so they're able to carry on and drive through and carry the speed on later on in the course. Here we are at Glen Helen. This is where the guys get their first time in port, so they now get a gauge of where they are in the standings. This is a real difficult part of the course. As you can see, it's quite twisty, narrow, not a lot of room for error, so they have to be real careful with their setup and their position on the circuit, and then carrying that speed on, they'll move on further around to the course where suspension setup is going to become even more crucial on the bumpier parts of the circuit. We've now left Glen Helen, we've come down to Bagara, a real difficult part of the circuit. As you can see, the guys are going to come through, they have to aim for most left that they can on this part of the course, otherwise they're going to end up running out wide. Again, really difficult because there's a big compression there, so it's important that the bike stays supported and controlled and not getting any weaves or buckings, so again they can carry on the straight through Bagara and just again carry on the speed through the rest of the lap. So the guys have now come through Bagara, they're now into Kirkmarket Village, still speeds of 160 mile an hour and above quite easily. Real narrow part of the circuit, so they've gone from fast country roads now into a real narrow village. So again, they have to be real precise with their positioning on the road and then also set up because the roads are getting quite bumpy now. So it's important to keep the bikes balanced and under control. Another really key part of the circuit is Ballaugh Bridge. This is where the guys will be coming down to 30 mile an hour. Some will opt to roll the bridge and some will jump it. Again, another real key part. On road bikes, they don't often have to do any jumps, but on the TT course, they do. So it's a case of getting the bike, if they do decide to take off, that it can land, control and go forward and not compress and bottom out, so they can carry on then driving forward through the rest of the village.
That's done now. So it's just going around the other side of the island there. It's going to cut across there.
Guys, I've managed to take a little bit of time from Davo. How are you getting on, mate? How's things?
Really good. It's all working really well so far. Like the Kawasaki's, Lee Hardy Racing, Platinum Club Racing Kawasaki. Awesome. It's from the first session. I came in after the first session and I was happy as. Like I was smiling to the boys and it was positive straight away. Like it was straight away. Like around here, the bikes. Usually in the first session, the bike sort of rides you, rather than me ride the bike. But I was straight away riding the bike, and it wasn't riding me. So it was good. The setups, I mean, we come with a base setup, which we thought would work, and we're very, very close to being after the second night, especially with making more changes to make it even better. But
it's all going well. So it's all like a whole new package for you this year, but. You know, some things that you've used before, so it's nice to be able to jump on some familiar products and get going again. As far as how you like to, you've come with a base setup. Is there any sort of things you like to focus on, on that first night? Is there certain things you look to go, right, this is what we'll work on the first night and then build from there, or do you just, ride and see what comes?
Yeah, ride and see what comes. Like, and it all comes down to that base setup that you start with, and that can determine. You can lose a couple of days if you don't have the proper base setup.
Yeah.
But obviously, riding comfortability is the first thing, like being out of the wind, which these bikes are quite big, like the fairing's big. I'm a big dude, it actually felt, that was one of the main things I felt so far, and stability, high-speed stability, which this time last year I was struggling, with trying to keep the bike sort of on the right part of the track when you need it, and being full throttle for as long as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the idea of it, being full throttle for as long as you can. But I felt confident straight away with the setup. So we've straight away we weren't a million miles away. We've only made like small changes, quite a big one on the superbike to begin with. But from now we're making sort of just fine tuning, but getting the bikes better and better, because ideally it's high speed stability and making sure that whole thing being as full throttle for as long as you can, like Ray said.
That's it for sure. So then now hopefully we're getting some better weather now, so if you can get some more laps in tonight, and then as you say, it's just a case of just chipping away. And then any goals that you're aiming for this year? Is there anything you want to be looking to do specifically?
I do have my goals. I just want to get back to where I left off really in 2019, which is where I was when I was last working with you guys as well. And I think we can sort of get back to there, because it's the being at that sort of top bunch is that's where I feel I deserve to be and where I know I can be. So it's just everything's got to work around. I mean, everything's got to work. I've got to work with the bike, and the team's got to work with me, and everything's got to work together. So and so far so good, really. I'm quietly confident.
Data from one of the top riders on a lap of the TT. Here we have GPS speed, fork position and shock position. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to zoom in on a section at the bottom of Bray Hill now. So as we can see here, this is the point where the forks are actually coming close to bottoming out now. So his actual position at the deepest part of travel is nearly 127 mil. So he'll be right into his bump rubber there, and then the rear down here is nearly at 43 mil, so that's almost completely bottomed out there. And then what we'll do, we'll move on to Bagara. Now here, slightly different what happens at this point. So as we can see, the actual rear of the bike actually gets to bottom out much more than the front does, and that's because the rear is actually lifting through the dip and the rear is going through the compression. It takes the majority of the hit there. So again, it's just interesting seeing how the bike reacts at those different points of the circuit. And then next, what we'll do is we'll look at Cregnabar. So this is the real fast braking section coming into a tight right-hander. So again here the guys will be heavy on the brakes, dropping that speed right down. The front will be not quite bottomed out but very close to the bump rubber there. Real crucial part of the circuit, because as they're braking really hard, it's really important to see that the rear of the bike stays connected to the ground. As we can see here, it's still deeper into its travel, so there's still 8mm of contact of rear in there, so that allows the engine guys to get their engine brake and everything correct to help the bike to slow down more. So there's just a couple key sections to look at of the data. Okay, now the riders have come through quarry bends, real important part of the circuit. Again, very short circuit style. They have to really be really specific with their point on the turns there to get the drive out, to come down to now what is probably the fastest part of the circuit, Sulby Straight. The guys will be reaching speeds of well over 200 miles an hour. So again, really important they get their setup good through quarry bends to carry their speed on down the Sulby Straight. Here we are at Ginger Hall, so right from this section through to Ramsey it gets really bumpy. So this is where it's real crucial for the setup of the bikes, getting the damping working so they can ride the bumps comfortably but still keep the bike so they're able to turn it. This way it gets really difficult for the guys now. As the bike's trying to ride the bumps, they've got to be able to turn it and keep those pinpoint positions on the circuit. So as we'll go now, you're going to see further on how much bumpier it gets throughout the course. They don't have many markers out on the circuit, but as you can see on the tree behind me there's a K. The riders will use that as a marker to aim for their apex for the turn to then carry on through for the rest of the straight. Okay, so now the riders have reached the middle part of the mountain course. Again, real crucial part of the circuit where the guys can either lose a lot of time or gain a lot of time if their setup allows them to do so. So again, the surfaces allows the guys to follow the road as best as they can, keep the bike nice and supported so then they're able to flow through the turns, keeping the feel with the road, so again they can allow themselves to carry on that drive through this real crucial part of the circuit. Okay guys, so they've now made it to Cregnabar. They've come down a real fast part from the mountain section, so it's a real hard, heavy braking area but for a long duration, so the guys have got to have the bike really stable on the brakes to then make to the tip into the rest of the turn. So it just shows the variation of the circuit. So we've had all the flowing short circuit style parts of Glen Helen all through the mountain, now down to this section where they're going to then carry on round, and then we're almost at the end of the lap now where there's going to be some slower sections coming up. Okay, the guys have now reached the final part of the section now. So coming into the nook, these are the only non-public parts of the road, so it's very green and greasy down here. So rear grip is real crucial at this point to get the drive onto the final straight. So coming down into this point, the guys are becoming their slowest speed. So after doing those big speeds for so long, they're now at real slow points of the circuit, being really careful with that throttle and rear tyre conservation.
Enjoying myself. I was saying to the boys there, really, we tried something with the setting of the bike, and I said I probably should have pulled in after the first lap because I don't think we went in the right direction, but I just want to enjoy myself. I'm just enjoying myself too much out there that I kept going and did a second lap just because, I guess.
Two very simple laps. I think the first lap was only 1 mile an hour slower than your best lap.
Yeah, that's it. I'm amazed at that because, man, it's windy up on the mountain at the moment. Another call it Windy Corner for a reason. I'm like fully leant over. I come out of Windy Corner and I'm still feel like I'm at 45 degrees going down the straight after Windy Corner. It's yeah, a bit windy up on the top, so you got to be careful. Still have a few damp patches, but we'll be sweet.
Off you go, boys.
10 minutes. Oh, 4.